Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Kevin McGovern, and this is another Velocity RX podcast. I'm here with my colleague, Dr. Clay Hammons. Before we begin, please like and subscribe this. It helps both Clay and I spread the message to try to save a million arms. So today, another podcast regarding real life case studies on injured athletes that we have both encountered, and how maybe we would have taken a different approach or did something completely different or whatever to get or stop or prevent these injuries from occurring. So, Clay, thanks for jumping on again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me on, Kev. I appreciate it too.
All right. Well, we'll start with you. I got
Yeah.
a usually in the group, you should tell I'm the emotional guy. When there's something goes on, I go crazy. But I got this this text from Dr. Hammons, and I'm like, almost blew me away because there's actually some emotion there, and I'm like, oh, something must be really wrong. So,
Yeah.
names to protect the innocent. Give us,
Yeah.
kind of what happened and what are what are you seeing?
Yeah. So kid I know and love, treated him off and on for the past few years. Phenomenal athlete, dual sport athlete, QB, pitches. Um, I mean, he's gonna go to college for either baseball or football, just whatever he decides.
Great.
Yeah, so I get a call from his dad, and dad's like, hey,
How old is the kid? I'm sorry.
he's going into his senior year.
Senior. So he's
So
ready to go to college. Okay.
he's I think freshly 18.
Okay.
But trying to he's at that point now, summer ball, trying to get some looks. So
Mm-hmm.
ramp up velo, has
Mm-hmm.
got into pitching. And I think that where he went to the velo did that, right? I mean, he got velo, he was hitting 89, 88, 89, strikes, throwing well. Uh,
As a junior, that's healthy velocity. Okay.
Yes. Yes. And so I was like, all right, all that sounds good. I was like, what's going on? He's like, well, he's got like dead arm, like his, um, pain in the shoulder, bicep, strength's gone. I said, okay, well, let's, bring him in. Let me check him out. Check him out. His rotator cuff's completely inhibited. He's got about probably a 3+ ER strength on MMT. Um, Bicep was a wreck, brachialis was a wreck, trigger points, upper trap was a wreck, trigger point, cuff was a wreck, supraspinatus, infraspinatus, negative for labral testing, negative for rotator cuff testing. So I was like, well, it's nothing, crazy serious, but there's got to be a reason why. I said, do you have any video that you can send me of his mechanics? And he said, sure, yeah, we were at a tournament this weekend. Here you go. So he sent me a couple of videos over, one from when he was healthy, and then
Mm-hmm.
one from when his arm was hurting. They weren't the greatest videos, and I can, pass them along and show you, but I was just looking at it and I was like, all right, I'm gonna look at these and see what I can see. And what do I see? The first thing is a lefty is that he goes down, and at foot strike, front front strike, he's here.
So he is in the for those who might be listening to this, he is in the Ultimate Fighting Championship Kimura,
Yeah.
which is abduction and internal rotation of the arm,
Yes.
or the inverted W or the M, whatever, which in
Whatever
my
letter, yeah. Whatever you
which
want
is
to say.
my Tommy John formula is the shrug,
Yeah.
right?
Some call it the kiss of death, some call it the Tommy John twist. I mean, there's all
Mm-hmm.
bad
All
names.
time, all names,
Okay.
it's all good.
All
All
things
good for
pointing,
something
all
for
things
bad.
pointing bad. Okay. So my thought, I was like, oh, well, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
Evident. Your arm's very, very late. I've never seen anybody with that movement's arm be on time at front foot strike.
Never.
I mean, you can't. This
It's
can't,
impossible.
right?
Yep,
And
it's impossible.
then we get here, and then we get here, and then we push and rotate really fast, and we get a lot of strain on the shoulder and the elbow. And his came in the form of the shoulder and was trickling down into the bicep brachialis. And I said, well, why? This is what kind of irks me about what's going on now with a lot of this training. This velo training is we're not doing a proper mechanics assessment, or maybe they see it, but they're going, okay, well, I got to get velo for this kid quick because he needs the looks, and we're just going to kind of bypass the mechanics and make him throw harder with these faulty mechanics, which to me is putting the cart before the horse. Like we've got to address we've got to address
1000% agree with
mechanics.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
we've got to address the mechanics first, right? Mechanics impairments. There may be other impairments there, as well.
Mm-hmm.
With the body. So we have to address that first before I can make you move faster. If you have faulty mechanics and you're trying to make those faulty mechanics move faster, you're already set up to get hurt. And then if you try to make it go faster, you're only going to make the injury happen faster.
Agreed.
And
So
that's what's happened. And so, now I'm having to, step in and say, all right, this is what we got to address your arm path. We've got to get that. We've got to get your arm flipped up earlier at front foot strike so that then you're ready to throw the baseball and not stuck. This is just stuck. You
stuck.
can't do anything from here.
So let me ask you some questions on this case. So you
Okay.
mentioned dead arm. So I've seen some advertisements, some Facebook ads about people talking about dead arm.
Mm,
And in the solution, they're not talking about mechanics. They're talking about it's a weakness problem. It's a strength issue. So you just have said,
it's
you've just acknowledged that there's a strength issue, but the root cause isn't weakness. The weakness is caused
right,
by poor movement,
right.
right? So
There's not a true strength issue. It's just inhibited.
it's inhibited, neurologically
So
inhibited.
so with
So,
this kid, I took him, then I treated him, and after the treatment, our strength test went back to 5 out of 5 on ER.
and what did you do? What did you do with him?
We did some spinal manipulation.
Okay.
So he didn't have really really good extension. So I did some spinal manipulation. I did some dry needling with stem to his supraspinatus, to his brachialis, to his long head of the biceps, and to his infraspinatus.
To
And
essentially flip the switch and turn these
just to say,
muscles on.
yeah. So address the trigger points, flush out the acetylcholine, which is the chemical that kind of keeps it in that contracted state, right? And then just flip them back on, right?
So let me.
So and so we
So
didn't
if
do any strengthening to make
so,
him stronger.
so let's pull that string. So let's say I came. Let's say it was my child had that, and you started immediately doing band work, closed chain work, strengthening exercises. What would have happened to that kid? Would
He
he
would
have gotten
he
better
would have
or
he would have
worse?
still been weak.
Still been weak.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then, depending on how he's doing his bands, if he's really, really upper trap dominant with it, then it's gonna make it worse. So that's, you have to address the impairments. And with him, we have to address the mechanics first.
Right.
Have to.
Because
And
I
if,
always say if you have a Lamborghini and you put two
yeah,
more cylinders in there, but you still have a bad front end alignment, doesn't matter. The car's
yeah,
never going to run correctly. It's never going
yeah,
to go faster.
yeah. If I got a wheel with 5 lug nuts and 3 of them are stripped off and 2 are loose and it's wobbling, right? And then I'm like, oh, I hit the gas. Hey, let's go faster. It's just going to make the wheel fall off faster, right? That's essentially what's happening with this kid. Did he pick up velo quickly? Yes, that's good.
Mm-hmm.
But his mechanics are still faulty, and now he's hurt.
Now he's hurt. Now he's hurt, which is the key. So you and I had another. So there was another person. I couldn't really understand where he was coming from, but he was definitely, I think, more on the attack mode of my Tommy John injury formula of drift, getting your center of gravity out too far, shrug, and dragging your back leg. And he, again, these strength guys talk that strength is the end all be all.
Mhm.
And he had made a comment that, well, if the guy in the video was stronger, somehow those would negate those movement issues. So thank God you had chimed in and said the exact same thing of putting the cart before the horse. So I'm always asking, well, in this case where he had this inverted W and
Mhm.
he had what you said, 3 out of 5 strength to it. What was it?
Yeah, probably 3 plus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's barely 50%, just over 50% strength for those playing at home. And let's say miraculously, which actually couldn't happen, you got him to 5 out of 5 strength.
Mhm.
Would that have fixed the root cause? Would that have made his arm on time?
Nope.
Never, right? Never.
So the injury's still going to happen because your mechanics are still the way that they were.
Yeah, I
So
don't
you can't,
understand why
yeah,
people are
I,
so negative about mechanics.
I really didn't get that guy's point. It was like, yeah, just get stronger, dude. All these kids lift.
Well, speaking, if you looked at that gentleman's page, in his top in his top pin to his in his page, he had a kid doing a squat, and he literally said it's not a perfect squat. So the kid was literally he lost his lordosis and he was not initiating the movement from the pelvis. He was literally lifting it from the upper back. So if it's not perfect,
Make it
why are you adding weight to the exercise?
right.
I don't get it. Or why are you doing weight that's too much for him not to do it perfect? One or the other.
Yeah.
And then we wonder why these kids are getting hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. You're overloading them into faulty movement patterns.
Right. It's all about everything you're doing is training to do the movement faster or more efficient, but the movement has got to be good or it's just going to run off the rails faster.
Right. I mean, look, I mean, really it boils down to this. There's a certain sequence in which you should approach a client or a patient, whatever you want to call them. And that is eval or assess. Okay. What are your impairments? If you have video of their throwing mechanics, look at it,
Mm-hmm.
assess that. Okay. Treat the impairments, address the mechanics, right? Master the mechanics because you've got to do that over and over and over again at
Mm-hmm.
decreased intensities before we build up. Once you get good at that, then we can talk about velo.
Mm-hmm.
Then
And
we can
keep
talk,
retesting and
then we can
retesting and retesting.
then we can talk about moving faster. Then we can talk about, hey, let's get a lot stronger in that action or movement, right? But if I don't have if I don't know my body's position first, then I can't make it go faster.
So to you and I, what you just said is complete common sense to me.
It's simple.
But we're attacked all the time that no that we don't know what we're talking about. It's this, it's everything but mechanics. Like, and I don't understand. I think that's the only thing it is because that's the first thing that has to happen. We have to move correctly before we can do anything.
Yeah.
What say
I
you?
mean, yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, yes, like you said, to me and you, this is simple. It makes perfect sense, logical, right? But for some reason, a lot of guys out there just want to skip steps. They don't either want to put in the work because it does take extra time.
Mm-hmm.
It does take extra time. And it seems like everybody wants the quick fix. How can I jump up 5 more miles an hour? Right? Well, you can you can do that, right? But are you doing it in a healthy way? Um,
And obviously
yeah,
the numbers play out that that's not happening
yeah,
because everyone's like, and then people talk about, oh, it's the pitch count. It's well before that. It's the
no,
movement. It's the
it's
movement.
not
It's
pitch
the
count.
training. It's this, it's that before you even get to the pitch count.
It's not pitch count because if it was pitch count, then I mean, why didn't Nolan Ryan's arm fall off?
Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Or Fernando
You
Valenzuela's 10 innings in the
you've
World
got
Series.
you've got guys throwing less pitches and getting hurt more.
Actually, 100%. Right.
So
Right.
it's not the pitch count, it's how we're moving.
Exactly.
And that's it. And
Mm.
I'll give you another case. I got another kid right now. He's coming into his senior year. He's 6'5", very, very promising, but just doesn't move well. And so looking at him and I'm looking at his film, we did a little pin and filmed it, and I'm like, man, his front leg, he's, strides and gets out on that leg, then it went straight, boop, Trendelenburg. I'm like, he's got no glute.
No way.
Oh, dude, straight Trendelenburg. He's got no glitter. So I get him in the clinic next
So
week.
just so Trendelenburg, essentially, if you've seen anyone who's ever had, you can get it from a hip injury too, but a stroke, that
Stroke.
the
Yeah.
side of their, when they walk, that side of the hip will literally drop,
Yeah.
boom, boom, and that's because you've got a weak gluteus medius,
Yeah. And
which
so, yeah, so I get him in the clinic to test the gluteus medius and get him in position. I say, okay, I want you to hold that there.
nothing.
Dropped. I'm like, bro,
Wow.
you again, not weak,
No,
inhibited, right?
inhibited. And
So
especially at
going
6'5", he must have pretty long lever arms.
go, yeah, huge. So go and look at it further. He's got zero spinal extension.
Mm,
I mean, not much at all. Pelvis was torqued and rotated. So I
mm,
had to get him in alignment, improve his extension. This was all in one visit. Improve his extension. Okay, let's go check again. 5 out of 5.
perfect. Yep.
So again, if if I try to make that kid throw faster with those impairments in that body, he's
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 be
gonna
injured fast. He's
he's
just
gonna
going to be
break
injured.
down.
He's going to be injured faster.
Yeah,
Wow.
his arm's gonna hurt.
And
So,
this,
it's just guys, assess, find the impairments, treat the impairments, master the movement, and then go fast. We can't skip those steps.
no. So, speaking of assessment, so a couple weeks ago, I picked up a client who has a, uh, uh, I'm not sure what percentage, but any percentage UCL tear is not good. So we talk about assessment. So this gentleman went to a physical therapist, and I'll say this again: all physical therapy is not the same. Okay. And then he went to this, velocity building, and I have his picture up on the screen right now, looking at his back. And he went to one of these velocity building centers, right? And this goes back to what, my dad was a safety manager of a chemical plant, and he would say, "Son, accidents don't happen; they're caused." And I kind of took that, as we've just been talking about now, injuries don't happen, just happen; they're caused, right? And well, both you just had two injuries that cause what the causation, and now we have a third. So just looking at his shoulder blade posture here, I always, I'm not the smartest guy in the room. I like dumbing things down. So let's go back to basic math, where one side of the equation's got equal to the other in algebra. And right now we don't have an equation that equals. And he's a righty, so I don't know if the left side is bad, the right side is bad, whatever it is, but we have vastly different looking shoulder blade posture, right? So this is a kid who allegedly went through physical therapy, went through multiple tests at this facility, and in my shoulder blade, coordination test, it's all over the place with how he moves. And again, I would not have cleared this kid to throw yet until those were fixed. He's very upper trap dominant. He's got a loss of lat function, and when he gets into 90 degrees of abduction, he's got big time over facilitated upper traps, which is part of my shrug formula. And all of this then added up to a a partially torn ulnar collateral ligament, which could have probably been prevented had he moved correctly. But what they did was, I saw the mechanics, they just piled on this bad moving basic motion, and now the kid is hurt. But we don't hear about those, right? Those don't, no one comes on and says, "Hey, look what we just did. This kid got hurt," and blah blah blah. Like no one talks about those. Everybody likes the clicks of the running guns and the 93 mile an hour, blah blah blah. But no one talks about. I mean, I look at this, you look at this, and it's basic to us that you have to move correctly and assess. And now here is an injury that could have been prevented. So, the kid may have to go a PG, or like it just costs time now and money for something. And that doesn't count the money that was spent on the expert physical therapist and this other place that they went to, right?
That's right.
And this is what makes me mad. This is what makes me mad. Because this, to me, I'm looking at like any, like you didn't have to. The father's like, yeah, he's right. And I said, were you there during all these testing? No, they wouldn't allow me. Oh. Then I asked the other question. They make you sign an injury waiver? Oh yeah. They did? Run. Run. No.
Fun.
Clay, do you have any injury waivers at your clinic?
No, I have a guarantee that you're gonna get better.
Exactly. I have the same thing. No one
It's
has.
like
If
the
you have an,
opposite.
if you're signing an injury waiver, parents, run.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, my whole thing is, I'm gonna work with you for a set amount of time. If we have not achieved all of your goals in that set amount of time, then I'm gonna keep working with you for no
For
added
free.
cost.
Same here. Same
That's
exact guarantee.
that's how I roll.
Me too.
You know, put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, if you see somebody going, oh, there's an injury waiver, like, hold on, my light is turned off. There's an injury waiver, like, yeah, that's just saying,
Run.
like,
Yeah. Right.
I may hurt your child, and I need you to sign here.
Right.
No,
No.
absolutely not. Thank you for your time. I'm going somewhere else.
So, you know, parents seem to, there's a lot of pressure on parents. I get it. And then, parents are part of this problem too, because even when given the right information, they still choose wrong. So, how do we get a parent to understand that there's a problem and then what they have to do to get the right help? What would you say?
Like, how do I approach that here in my
Yeah,
clinic?
how do you
Yeah,
approach that?
so, well, one, I have the parents there with me in the room with their child, and so they
100%.
and so they see the testing. They see, okay, okay, this is what's wrong. This is why. All right, this is what we have to do. All right, this is the time frame that we're expecting it to take. Okay, so I just lay it all out there. Lots and lots of education. Um,
Agreed.
Lots and lots of time, which you and I are able to do because we work in a model that's one-on-one, versus going in a big box PT clinic where it's one-on-three, and they don't
Or
have
more.
that, and they don't have that time with that client or patient. So yeah, for me, it's just I do the same, boring exam on everyone. And it's boring and it's lengthy, but it's thorough.
Hmm.
And we say, okay, these are your impairments. This is why you're hurt. This is what it's going to take to fix it. And just explain that over. I mean, I just kind of talk in circles as I'm going.
Yep.
Just always get back to the root cause and what we have to fix. They may have they may have elbow pain or shoulder pain, but getting them to understand that, oh, well, their ankle's not moving well, or their spine's not moving well. They don't have glute control. We have to address all of these things so that their arm can be healthy.
Hmm.
And then we have to break down the mechanics and teach proper mechanics first, which is what I just did with a 12-year-old. It was amazing. Yesterday we threw our second live pin, and we got to 100% intensity. Been working with this kid after Little League elbow for probably 5 weeks now, and he's fully better, fully good, and no pain, much better mechanics. Oh, and guess what? He picked up 5 miles an hour.
Oh, wow. Look at that. So
So the,
from being
so the
injured, now he
velo
picked up 5 miles an hour.
So the velo comes if you're sequencing the body to move better,
There's no free lunch.
and
So
it's healthy.
yeah. So what I would say to that, what parents look for test, retest. Like
Mhm.
like Clay had mentioned, hey, we found a weak blah de blah or whatever it is. We found a weak glute. And then the person who you're going to see should be able to do something that should immediately make that glute turn on to be stronger.
Mhm.
If they can't do that, you're in the wrong place. Now, I don't mean it doesn't have to be perfect, but like Clay said, we had a gluteus medius that was weak. As soon as I adjusted the spine and leveled off the pelvis, we had an immediate return of strength. right? And that's what should happen when we have inhibition or anything, even if there's a range of motion issue. There should be something that that clinician or person should do, that there should be an immediate return, immediate positive result, or you're in the wrong spot. Would you
Right.
agree with that?
100%. Yeah. I mean, if you're going somewhere that's not assessing, treating, and then reassessing to see if it's better, also run.
Run, run.
Because I mean, that's the one thing that I want to know is if I do certain treatment or modality on a patient, did that just improve you or did it make you worse? Because if it made you worse, we're not doing that. We need to go back to the drawing board. Typically, I get it right and it gets better. And then we go, okay, now we can apply that to function. Okay, now we have to learn, now that that's turned on, now we have to apply that over into functional movement. And here's how we move it in function. So that's what I always do. Okay, find an impairment, make it better. How do I apply that to pitching? Right?
1000%.
How do I apply that to, if getting out of a chair? I don't know. Whatever it is when I'm working with whoever it is to accomplish whatever goal or solution, now we have to go and apply that over to function. And so that should be what a skilled or expert clinician is doing with you. And if
Absolutely.
not, go find another one.
Exactly. Well, thank you, sir. So, in wrapping up, parents, you there's a causation to most of these injuries that are out there, especially in your baseball pitcher, and there certainly is preventability. And you have to know what to look for. Hopefully, this episode showed you or told you exactly what to look for. So, Clay, how do people find you if they want to work with you?
Yeah, so on Instagram, you can reach out to me at Performance Solutions Rehab. Um, Feel free to email me, Clay at performancesolutionsrehab.com. Facebook, Clay Hammons, or you can DM me there. You can DM me at my Facebook page, Performance Solutions and Rehab Facebook page. Just anything you got, any question you got, please reach out. I'm always here to help.
Yeah, absolutely. As
Um,
am I.
doesn't
And
have to
leave
be
a
a
question under
monetary
this.
exchange.
Yep. And
Doesn't have
leave
to
a
be a
question under
monetary
this.
exchange. Just anything.
Just
Shoot
anything.
me. I'll shoot you straight. Same for you as know you would too. We just really want kids to be healthy playing the sport that they love.
Agreed.
And that's what we're here for. And we're here to do it the right way. And yeah, just
Yeah.
just let
I
me
always say I want your son to choose when he stops playing baseball, not have an
mm,
injury choose it for him. So
really good.
again, like and subscribe to this podcast. You can always comment on YouTube. I get back to people as quickly as I can. And thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Clay, thanks for jumping on, buddy.
Thanks, Kevin. Thanks, guys.